All right, Coach. Well, you guys preparing for national team coming up in Michigan. You guys just getting back from Rochester, New York. Just what was that experience like? In Rochester, and obviously that final match, against Vanderbilt, just going down to the wire, coming away with the victory there.
Yeah, I think that, in Rochester, one of the things that happened, obviously, winning that match against Merrimack was a battle-tested match. I mean, it went all the way to a 5-frame roll-off because we had tied 3.5 to 3.5 or whatever in the best of 7, and so we were kind of battle-tested, and so we won the team game against Vandy, and then even though they won the 5-game Baker, team really didn't allow losing the point to affect them, and so sometimes when you lose a point, it can kind of hard. You get a 5-minute break, but sometimes it can make it where it's a little difficult to come back from because you don't have a lot of time and you're upset and whatnot, and so you got to let that go really quickly. And I don't really think that we were really thought about it. And then the lanes transitioned and they got further left, and kind of what happened was we won the team game, and then in the 5-game Baker match, the lanes transitioned and they kind of transitioned how they like them, and then they started hooking more, obviously, because that's just what happens. The more balls that go down the lane, the more oil that comes off the lane. And so then they kind of transitioned to where we kind of liked them. And so, and then we had lane choice, and the right lane was clearly better. And, we ended up winning 4-1. I will say, we were up 3-1 in a best 4 out of 7. And obviously we lost the national championship to Vandy being up 3-1 in a best 4 out of 7. And so it was kind of one of those things, being 3-1, playing Vandy, to get back there. It was kind of one of those things. It's okay, well, this ain't happening again. So,
absolutely, and just the resiliency of the girls. I mean, obviously, you just mentioned the way the last year went, and even this trip. I mean, getting, as you mentioned, that Merrimack game and then the Vanderbilt game. It just really seems like these girls have been battle tested, and their resiliency just really paid off.
Yeah, one of the things I talk about a little bit is coming back. I brought the 5 people that played on TV back, and one of the things we've kind of talked about a little bit is a lot of teams, when that happens to them, because obviously this is a new team, there's new players here and whatnot, but a lot of times when a team happens for them, it's hard for them to let that go and come back from that, and so we're already kind of over that hurdle because we beat the team that happened against, and in the same scenario, you know what I mean? Yeah. But I just kind of said, hey, what kind of cool story would it be, come back and win the following year or whatever, and have the resiliency to do so. So, we're in decent position. I mean, the one thing I would say is all 4 teams are good, and so anybody can win, and, you just got to go out there and, let your body and training take over and, make the best shots you know how under pressure. And,
absolutely.
We can do that.
Yeah, and you guys are more than familiar with these teams in the field too. I mean, all from the same conference. I mean, that's not something you hear about very often. Just the same conference, being in the Final Four and all of that. So, how special is this conference to be able to compete, day in, day out against these teams?
Yeah, I mean, when the whole automatic qualifiers happened, we joined the Southland, which then when the Southland it dissolved because Sam Houston and Stephen F. Austin left the Southland. So with Sam Houston going to Conference USA and Louisiana Tech in Conference USA, and then Jacksonville State adding bowling, it gave 3 schools in Conference USA already, so that allowed Conference USA to pick it up and allow us all to come over basically into Conference USA. But one of the main reasons why we all got together and kind of formed the quasi-conference or whatever was just, even though it's so good and the teams were so good in the conference, it was the only way for us to have that second option of possibly getting into the tournament, right? Because before we had all at-large bids, it was 8 at-larges with no automatic qualifiers. And then when they did the conference stuff, they were going to automatic qualifiers, so it was a way to have, instead of one way to get in, two possible ways to get in. And so that's kind of why it happened, and it just so happened that, because a lot of the best teams are in the Central, and so not knocking the East, there's good teams in the East too, but predominantly the Central is getting most of the teams into the tournament for at-large bids. And so we felt like we needed to at least have a second way to get in, and that was to have, automatic bids, and then, this is or at-large bids, and I don't have an automatic bids. So
Right. And then you guys preparing for that trip up to Michigan, and just how exciting was it for you? I mean, just to get back there, just to get back and have the opportunity to bring home the national championship.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, anytime you get the opportunity to win a national championship, I always tell myself a lot of times I'm kind of blessed in that kind of regard, because like how many people get the opportunity in life to compete for that. Arkansas State has been great to me and allowed me to be employed and coach the game that I grew up and love, and to give back to young females, and like I said, there's very few people in life that can say that they get an opportunity to do that. So it's always a privilege to be able to compete for a national championship, and it's something that I don't take for granted, because you got to keep working hard. The teams are good. Teams are getting better. Coaching's getting better. So you're just going to have to keep working harder and harder, and it's going to get more and more difficult. And so it's one of those things that we need to take advantage when we got the chance. So hopefully this will be the year.
Absolutely. And then just a bit of a homecoming of sorts for Carly as well, and get to see a lot of family and friends, and not just with her, but with the program as well. And so
yeah. I mean, there's going to be a lot of former players there. Jordan Richard, is one player of the year on the PWBA tour, and was two-time player of the year on the NCAA side or whatnot. And so I know she's going to be there, because the pros are bowling there too right now for the World Series of Bowling, in the other 74 lane area, or it's like 54 lane area, because then they have like another 20 lane area that's like cosmic now only, and then they have a 20 lane arena. So you got the World Series of Bowling going on the same time that we're there, but Jordan's fiance or whatever is bowling, so Jordan will be there, Haley will be there. They would have came anyways, it's not that far from their town, but I'm sure Taylor Davis, maybe Sarah Corral now, which was Sarah Loker, who was player of the year here. Perry, her husband, grew up 45 minutes from my hometown in Washington and whatnot, so I'm sure her grandfather and stuff will come, so there'll be a lot of former players and people there, so we should have a pretty good crowd actually, and I know even some boosters are traveling.
That's exciting. Well, is there anything else you want to add about this group, or anything that I might have forgot to mention?
No, I mean, the one thing I would just say is I'm proud of how we competed, and proud of having the depth, and having a lot of people step up. Emma and Faith have been hurt, and I wasn't able to play Emma a whole lot, but she came in for 2 frames the last game and struck both shots coming in cold to help us seal a deal, so that was pretty cool. And Faith gave everything she had for as long as she could, until I finally had to take her out, because her she's having some arm trouble or whatnot, but hopefully we're going to get that fixed here. Went to the docks and try to get some stuff done. So the training room, Katie was, we wouldn't have had a trainer there, I don't know how far we would have went. So Katie came with us and really helped out a lot too. So it's been a full team effort, and proud of everybody. So
awesome. That's about all.